So we start by opening the Samsara driver app. And then up top here, it's going to ask for fleet ID. Ours is Niagara Scenic, except it's all one word, lowercase. And as far as your username, it is usually going to be the first letter of your first name followed by your last name. And then your password is your employee number. Then sign in. And this is what you would do as you get to the yard right before you're approaching your bus for your pre-trip. And normally it will give you these prompts and ask you to sign into a vehicle. Usually the one closest by you will be up here under suggested, but it may not always be there. If you're taking a company vehicle and deadheading somewhere, you start off under home terminal, and then you go back in and select a vehicle once you get to a bus. Today I'm in bus 2000. Confirm. Then it's going to prompt and ask you for your shipping ID. This is the same thing as your charter number. On your work ticket, when it says charter number, it is the first set of numbers before the dash. So for today, that is my number. Hit done. Then it's going to ask you to go on duty. So we go on duty. And it's going to prompt you to start your pre-trip inspection. We never have any trailers, so it's always vehicle only. Scroll down a little bit. Here's our pre-trip. And if it's safe to drive, you hit safe to drive. And go ahead and do your pre-trip. At the end of your pre-trip, you can hit next. As you see here, it has the previous defects. If they are fixed, then you would just click on it and it would change to resolved. If it's not, then you might want to see the mechanic before you leave the yard. After hitting next, it'll say, do you want to certify and submit that this vehicle is safe to drive? Hit that. Then it's going to ask you to check your previous logs, any logs that you have finished throughout the week that have not been certified. I usually try to do this at the end of the trip. You could review and certify now. I'm going to skip. And here's your main menu. So the first thing that I want to do now that I'm on duty and I did my pre-trip is I want to go into this line on top where it says on duty. And I want to add a remark to that and show that I did my pre-trip inspection. This way, if I get DOT'd, they see this time that I was on duty and they can see that it was for a pre-trip inspection. Now from here, I can see my vehicle is selected and my shipping ID is in there. And if I click on HOS, that's my hours of service. So I see that I have 10 hours of driving available, and I've been on duty for 2 minutes, so I have 2 minutes off that total clock of my on-duty clock. If I scroll down here and see log, this shows me that information. And say I was here and I did my pre-trip and I started at 6 o'clock but forgot to sign in, I could always hit edit and I could change that time to 6 a.m. and then just add a remark and say forgot to log in and then save it. Hitting the back button a few times, back to our main menu. Now, if we had logged in and it did not give us the prompts to do our DVIR and go on duty, it's always this top bar here. This is where we go on duty, If for some reason the GPS wasn't working and didn't put in our drive time, we could hit that we started driving, but it always picks up driving automatically. When you get to your stop, it'll look like this when you go in there. It'll already say driving, since you've been driving and you just unloaded your passengers and now you have a break. So if you just unloaded your passengers and you have a break, and this said driving up here, you just click on it and click off duty and save. And it's going to ask you if you want to go off duty and sign out or just go off duty. You just want to go off duty. And you're off duty. Now, as I was saying, if it did not prompt us to do the DVIR, we would go on duty, add our remark for a pre-trip inspection, and we would hit save. And then we would hit DVIR. You can see all of our previous DVIRs. But we would go to create. It says you have to be on duty to create. Sure. Vehicle and so on and so forth. Discard. If we had to switch, say we did a pre-trip and that vehicle was unsafe, we had to switch vehicles right here under vehicle. Click on that. We would hit leave, and then we would find whatever vehicle the mechanic told us to take, or our dispatcher. If we had gotten fuel out on the road, we had to enter a receipt, or if we had gotten into an accident or had an incident, all of those documents are under docs. And just create, and there's accident, incident, expenses, and receipts. And once you click on the first, put in the date and time, you just hit next and just keep answering all the questions. And at the end, it'll ask you to take a picture. When you are signing out for the day, again, you just hit this top line, hit off duty, save, and it'll say, do you want to go off duty and sign out? And you say, yes, I do. It'll show you your logs. This is my log from yesterday. And I'd say, yeah, that looks about right. And I'd hit agree and certify. And then we'd be all set.